One Piece has been building up for over 25 years so far, and as a result, it comes as no surprise the fact that certain battles, well, let's just say that fans are dying to finally see happen. Some will be driven by revenge, others will be a clash of motives, while others will be a battle to determine the future Pirate King. And no matter what, we'll be there when it happens. And all I'm gonna say is, damn, this is gonna be epic! These are all 8 future fights in One Piece that will break the internet. And just to make things more interesting, let's briefly explain how each point will be analyzed. We'll present the fight, then the reason the clash even happens, how likely this fight will happen, and under what circumstances. Then, we'll take it a step further and explain how strong the characters are now, and even more than that, try to predict how strong they will be when the fight actually takes place. And of course, in the end, try to predict how the fight will play out, and obviously, who the winner will be. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. The first battle will obviously be Luffy against Akainu. So why will this fight even happen? Well, for anyone wondering why this battle takes place, if that's you, then you better rewatch One Piece, because if I'm being honest, this battle, along with another one that we're gonna analyze in a little bit, is probably the one that's been building up the most in the entire series. Akainu was the one who killed Ace during Marineford, and obviously, that left Luffy traumatized. Not only that, but both Luffy and Akainu stand in polar opposite sides. Akainu was sworn to fight for the Marines, and is even the fleet admiral, while Luffy has a life goal to become the Pirate King, something that not only the world government opposes, but also Akainu personally wants to prevent from happening. And if you want to prevent your privacy and personal data from leaking online, then you better start using ExpressVPN as soon as possible. And what exactly will that do? Well, think of it this way. Luffy is a good guy, and because of that, all sorts of bad people try to find out where he is, and in general, track him down in order to hurt him. In his case, he can just sail at sea. In your case, not so likely, because all your data is stored on your phone, tablet, or personal computer. That's exactly why I personally love ExpressVPN, because it allows me to browse the internet without having to worry that my data will fall into the wrong hands. And let me tell you, online hackers have been going crazy lately. They are pirates, but not the good kind like Luffy. And trust me, you don't want to be their victim. And yet that's just one of the benefits I enjoy with ExpressVPN. As you can tell by now, I like watching anime and all sorts of series for that matter. Well, many of them are not available worldwide. And here's where ExpressVPN comes to the rescue. By virtually changing your location, you can access series and websites you would otherwise not be able to. And what makes ExpressVPN stand out from other VPNs? Well, ExpressVPN invests only in premium servers, making it consistently faster than any other VPN provider, which obviously makes all the difference when you want to watch a movie without constantly having to pause in order to load. Protect your privacy, your data, your passwords, and browse through internet with no geographic restrictions. Sign up for ExpressVPN today, and if you're quick, you can find out how you can get up to 4 extra months completely free of charge by scanning my QR code, or by clicking the link in the description down below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Akagami. But now, let's get back to our video. Add into the fact that Luffy is Dragon's son, that we've seen time and time again in the show that Akainu despises, then yeah, I can speak with confidence when saying that Luffy versus Akainu will be a battle filled with emotion, hype, indomitable will on both sides, and it'll be a battle that will shape the world of One Piece, for good or bad, depending on the outcome of the battle. And speaking of that, what do you think will actually happen when the fight occurs? Well, before we answer that, let's see how likely it is that this fight actually happens. If I had to guess, I would say this fight is almost certain to happen. If not, it would be such a wasted opportunity from Oda. And I do think I could say it's even close to being 100% likely. Opposite sides, one is top of the Marine Force, one aims to be the top of the King of the Pirates. They both hate each other for their reasons. I think this fight's inevitable. Now, when exactly will this fight happen? I'd probably guess close to the end game of One Piece. If Luffy wins, he's way too close to becoming the Pirate King, so not a lot of One Piece remains after that, I suppose. If Akainu wins, well, Akainu's not the kind of man to spare the ones he defeats, so Luffy will probably end up dead or severely injured and barely manage to be saved by an ally of his. But I highly doubt this will happen, as this would be a terrible day for Luffy to get his revenge, or rather, not get his revenge. But realistically now, what will happen when that fight occurs? Well, to answer that, let's briefly see how strong the two of them are and how strong they will be when they fight each other. For example, let's see how far Luffy has already come, because let me just tell you, his progress so far has been insane. He went from being destroyed by the 3 admirals, and by that I mean they could all 3 of them destroy him in an instant if others were not interfering, to fighting on equal ground against Kizaru, and even dare say, having a bit of an upper hand. Luffy's progress should, without a doubt, not be underestimated. And not just that, his high haki keeps getting stronger. He keeps learning new forms of it. His body keeps getting stronger. He keeps unlocking new moves, gears, and uses for his devil fruit. His fighting style keeps maturing, and believe it or not, his battle IQ only gets better with time. Akainu, on the other hand, he's in his prime, so his progress, even though we might have some, is definitely not as fast as Luffy's, meaning that the more time passes, the better the chances for Luffy to defeat Akainu when this fight happens. But there is an important point I'd like to add for Akainu, or rather, a theory I strongly believe in. Hear this. Akainu's devil fruit might not be the Magu Magu no Mi as we thought until now, but rather, Akainu might have eaten a mythical Zoan fruit instead. Why do I believe this? Well, check this. Both of the two previous fleet admirals are theorized to have eaten mythical Zoans. Sengoku is confirmed to have eaten Hito Hito no Mi, model Daibutsu, while Kong is heavily theorized, and in my opinion correctly, to have eaten the Hito Hito no Mi, model Wukong. Both of these devil fruits are mythical Zoans, so it might after all be a pattern that Oda chooses to use for the position of the fleet admiral. But which is Akainu's devil fruit? Hito Hito no Mi, model Pele. You see, Pele is the goddess of volcanoes and fire, and the creator of the Hawaiian Islands. She's a well-known deity within Hawaiian mythology, and is notable for her contemporary presence and cultural influence as an enduring figure from ancient Hawaii. Now, why am I led to this deity? Because Akainu features this very characteristic shirt with the trademark Hawaiian flower on it. Not only that, but Akainu also has this very Hawaii-like tattoo on his left shoulder as well. And yet, that's not all. Remember Akainu's fight against Kizaru? Well, if you check this scene, then you can clearly see that Akainu's sides features volcanoes as well, and not just magma. As far as we know, creating volcanoes is not within the Magu Magu no Mi's abilities, unless, not base abilities that is. We still don't know what the potential awakening of this fruit could look like, unless magma is just a byproduct of the bigger image and the more general ability of Akainu's devil fruit. I strongly believe that Akainu's devil fruit will in time be revealed as the Hito Hito no Mi model Pele, similarly to how Luffy's devil fruit was revealed to be a Hito Hito no Mi model Nika later on in the story, and not just the Gomu Gomu no Mi we thought up until that moment. Now, being a mythical Zoan, I think you can understand that this devil fruit is even more powerful than what the Magu Magu no Mi was estimated to be originally, and by the time Luffy and Akainu fight, Akainu will either have already awakened his devil fruit, or will awaken it during battle as a way to hype up the battle even more, and bring the stakes even higher. It will be a battle of two mythical Zoan devil fruit users, both Hito Hito no Mi variations, both deity devil fruits, but with polar opposite motives. All I can say is that I cannot wait until it happens. But what I can do for now is give a prediction on how the fight will play out and who the winner will be. As previously mentioned, the stage has been set for a long time now, with everything pointing that Luffy will indeed get his revenge against Akainu for killing Ace. If I had to guess, I'd give Luffy a 90% chance of winning this. We did mention Aokiji briefly in our first point, so now I have to speak about an upcoming fight I cannot wait to see him have, and this will be none other than Aokiji versus Blackbeard. So why is this fight gonna happen? You see, yeah, Aokiji technically already betrayed the Marines to join Blackbeard's crew. However, I do believe he will betray the Blackbeard pirates once more. Why? Because throughout the series, he was shown to always be on the wrong side of justice, but never actually being presented as evil or enjoying doing what he did. When it comes to Saul, who, as we know, survived, Aokiji only made it seem like he killed him because that was his obligation as a Marine present during a buster call. He was also the student of Garp, so without a doubt, Garp taught him well, not only on the fighting front, but on the mentality and moral side as well. So in time, I do believe that Aokiji will betray Blackbeard. After all, the traitor pattern is one Oda uses all the time in his work, and I'm 100% sure we will see more betrayals and undercover spies or double agents as the show progresses. We actually made a video on this topic a while ago, so you might want to check it out once you're done with this one. Also, another thing, the Blackbeard pirates are called the Titanic Captains. What I'm about to say might sound like dark humor, but I'm actually serious. What was the thing that sunk the Titanic? An iceberg. Remind you of anything? Well, that's literally Aokiji's power, creating ice and icebergs. His fight against Garp, I truly think Aokiji was trying to show him something through his fists. If you notice, there is this exclamation point showing that Garp is probably understanding something that Aokiji is trying to tell him while they fight. Now, as far as probability, how likely is this fight to happening? I'd give it around a 75% chance of happening, because even though I'm almost certain that Aokiji will betray the Blackbeard pirates, he may do so without directly fighting Blackbeard. And why do I say that? Because I've got a theory to present in a little bit on who will actually defeat Blackbeard. Now, as far as power scaling, let's dive into that. Aokiji is insanely powerful. He was able to literally pass by Cracker that took 4th gear Luffy entire episodes to defeat. He fought on par with Akainu, he fought and defeated Garp, even though it is theorized Garp may have went a little bit easy on his former student, or even let Aokiji defeat him once he realized what Aokiji was doing, aka the theory we mentioned before, with Aokiji betraying Blackbeard. Now, on Blackbeard's side, he's definitely powerful. He is a Yonko, after all, possessing 2 of the strongest devil fruits in existence, and it's almost certain a 3rd devil fruit's gonna be added to his arsenal sooner or later. Add into the equation the theory of Blackbeard having a secret ability that emerges off-screen whenever he's losing a fight, and I do think that Blackbeard has the edge on this one, if it happens as a 1v1. So yeah, to answer our 4th point now, Blackbeard's probably gonna win this. Plus, considering plot reasons, doesn't really make sense for Aokiji to defeat Blackbeard. Someone else will have to do that, and we'll explain who in a little while. A fight that now I'm sure most of you are dying to see is, of course, Zoro versus Mihawk. So, you know the drill by now. Why is this fight gonna happen? Well, simply because Zoro aims to become the world's strongest swordsman, and also because he has stated numerous times so far that he wants to fight and win against Mihawk to claim his title. It's once again a battle that's been building up for literally decades now, and when it happens, it's sure to bring a lot of hype with it. Now, how likely is it that this fight will indeed happen? I would say 100%, but there are some theories out there claiming that Mihawk will be defeated by Shiryu before Zoro manages to fight him, which, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really see coming true. But what do you think? Will Oda decide to let us down and never show us the Zoro versus Mihawk final fight, or not? Let us know in the comments down below. So just because of this theory, I guess we could go for about a 95% chance. Next up is the power scaling of the 2 combatants. When it comes to Zoro, we've already seen him progress quite a bit so far. He unlocked Armament Haki, Observation Haki, and even recently, Conqueror's Haki. He wields Enma effectively, which, yes, the sword does indeed do most of the work, but only because Zoro is skilled enough to control it. Not every swordsman can. With it, Zoro was capable of injuring Kaido and even defeating his right-hand man, King. Zoro also has a secret boost when fighting against certain opponents, but thankfully for Mihawk, this doesn't apply in his case. Now, when it comes to him being comparable to Mihawk, at least at the time this video is being recorded, I would say Zoro's pretty close, but not quite there yet, because Zoro lacks one very important trait that we know Mihawk has, the ability to turn his swords black. And before you rush to say that Zoro turns his swords black, hold on a minute. That's a different thing. When Zoro does that, he simply applies Armament Haki to his swords. Same way this works with body parts. In the case of Mihawk, he somehow managed to turn his sword all black permanently, which is considered a feat only Ryuma managed to achieve prior to that, at least, as far as we know, that is. And there's the experience that Mihawk has that obviously is still superior to Zoro's. I would say that Mihawk is currently Yonko level, while Zoro is Yonko's first commander level. By the time they meet, or by the time their fight ends, Zoro will be at Yonko level, having unlocked Black Blade and having refined his Haki to Mihawk's level. Now, who's the winner gonna be? Well, naturally, when and if this fight happens, the winner will be Zoro. After all, we do know that the Straw Hats all will achieve their goals, and Zoro's goal is, of course, to become the world's best swordsman, and he can't do that without defeating Mihawk. Next, it's yet again another insanely hyped one, the Straw Hats against the Red Hair Pirates. All right, the first point, which I'm sure you're all wondering, why is this fight even happening? Well, you see, this fight's been hinted at on a few different occasions so far in One Piece. First of all, Luffy has openly stated that he intends to defeat all Yonko crews, Shanks' Red Hair crew included. Not only that, as a kid, Luffy did say that he intends to build a crew even better than Shanks's that will one day surpass even them. The fight will not be powered by anger, revenge, or a feeling of rivalry or battle of opposing ideas. Rather, it would be a fight of mutual respect, and a fight that will basically prove that Luffy is now worthy of becoming the Pirate King, and a fight that Luffy will want to win, so that he can finally return the Straw Hat to Shanks after he proved to him that he is finally a splendid pirate, thus fulfilling the promise he made to him all the way back when he was a kid. Now, the probability this fight will happen, and under which circumstances. I think this fight's probably gonna happen towards the end stages of One Piece, but among the fights we have on our list, I think this one is the only one that has serious chances of not happening at all. The reason being that many theories claim that Shanks will die before the end of One Piece, and thus Luffy will not get the opportunity to fight him. I'll give the fight of Straw Hats versus Red Hair Pirates a 60 to 70% chance of actually happening one way or another. Now, in terms of power scaling, for the Red Hair Pirates, their power level is pretty much fixed by now. They're all at their primes, and we don't really expect much more progress in their strength by the time the two crews clash, no matter when that happens. The Straw Hats, on the other hand, are, as we mentioned, continuously evolving, powering up and leveling up, improving their Haki, physical strength, general abilities, mastery over devil fruits, and most notably, battle IQ. For the fourth point, who will win play out? Well, to answer that, we need to first see who will fight who, right? Luffy's obviously gonna fight Shanks, Sanji will most likely fight Lucky Roo. I mean, after all, all, they're both the left-hand men of their respective crews. They're both known for their speed, and they're both cooks. I think the parallels match perfectly. Zoro will fight Ben Beckman. I mean, after all, they are both the right-hand men of their respective crews, and I believe that Beckman is actually a swordsman that Oda is secretly hiding until the fight with Zoro actually happens. Yasopp's naturally gonna fight his son, Usopp, a father-son match that will prove who's the best sniper. Building Snake will fight Frankie, which, if we're being honest, they look alike probably for a reason, right? I mean, many theories even claim that Frankie is his son as well. Hongo is the doctor of the crew, so he's probably gonna fight Chopper. Bunk Punch is the musician, so he will probably fight Brook. Gab seems quite animalistic, so I'd guess his opponent will be Jinbei, which leaves us with Lime Juice and Monster against Nami and Robin. Of course, we might also have additions in the Straw Hat crew like Loki, that at the time this video is recorded has not yet joined the crew, but was offered a spot by Luffy. Now, who will win? Well, the Straw Hats are probably gonna be victorious if this fight ends up happening. Next, it's another fight that's been building up for a while, the Straw Hats against the Blackbeard Pirates. How and why is this fight gonna come to be? Well, for starters, Blackbeard was directly involved in Ace's death, so Luffy fighting against him will definitely be in a way revenge. Is that all though? Oh, not even close! Luffy and Blackbeard are both after the One Piece, and are basically the two main candidates at this point. So, how likely is it that this fight will happen? Their clash is pretty much unavoidable in my opinion. This might very well even be the final fight in One Piece to decide who will be the Pirate King. It might even take place in Raftel too. Now for power scaling, we already analyzed Luffy and the Straw Hats and how strong we estimate them to become. But just like them, the Blackbeard Pirates are also growing at an astonishing rate. And with Blackbeard probably receiving a third Devil Fruit, as well as him adding the strongest Devil Fruit powers in his crew by giving it to his crewmates, well, things do look like this fight will be an insanely hyped one. And for the fourth point, how will this turn out and who will win? First of all, who's gonna fight who, right? Luffy's definitely gonna fight Blackbeard. Aokiji, as we already explained at a previous point, will probably have left the crew by then. Zoro will fight Shiryu, as both of them are swordsmen. Sanji will most probably fight Burgess. Usopp will fight Van Augur, since they're both snipers. Frankie, at least the way I see it, will most probably fight Avalo Pizarro. Chopper will fight the doctor of their crew, Doc Q. Luffy is the navigator, so I think he's gonna fight Nami. This leaves us with Brook, Robin, and Jinbei against Vasco Shot, Katarina Devon, and San Juan Wolf. As to who will win this, I truly believe that this could go either way, but none of the sides will be utterly defeated. The Straw Hats will, after all, probably go on to become the Pirate King crew. But if Luffy were to win, why do I believe that Blackbeard will not be utterly defeated? Because I know the one who will finish him off, and that someone isn't Luffy. But more of that in the next point. The next fight I believe is going to break the internet is one we spoke more of in the past. It was actually one of the very first videos we ever posted on the channel, and this fight will be none other than Koby versus Blackbeard. So now the first point, why will they fight? Well, hear this. You see, Blackbeard was heavily inspired from the world's most notorious real-life pirate, the real-life Blackbeard named Edward Teach. So, what did the future hold for the real-life Blackbeard, you may ask? Check this. Luffy isn't gonna be the one to kill him, and I think this for two main reasons. One, Oda stated that Luffy does not kill his opponents. He likes to crush their hopes and dreams instead. So killing Blackbeard would contradict his statement. But most importantly, the reason Blackbeard is not gonna die at the hands of Luffy is because someone else is destined to kill him, and that someone is none other than Koby. Let me explain. Edward Teach died not from an illness, which was very common back in the 17th century, not from another pirate that he fought most of the time, but by the hands of a Marine. Koby so far played little to almost no part in the development of the series, besides 2 or 3 moments that even without him, the story still could work just fine. Plus, why would Oda make a Marine a friend of Luffy from the very first chapters of the show? After all, the One Piece story was originally meant to last only 5 years. For such a short story, what other purpose would Koby serve other than an end goal? I mean, he was introduced in the very first arc of the story and then disappeared. Also, how do I know that Blackbeard's gonna die? Well, not only was he killed by a Marine in real life, Edward Teach died at the age of 40. Blackbeard is currently around 40 years old, which again shows that Oda paid much more attention to the real-life Blackbeard than most people thought. I'm convinced that Oda has in mind that a Marine has to take down Blackbeard after all, in order to reference the real-life death of the real-life legendary pirate named Blackbeard. And this Marine is gonna be none other than Koby. Plus, if we look at the parallels with previous generations, Luffy resembles Roger, Koby resembles Garp, Blackbeard resembles Rocks. Garp and Roger teamed up to defeat Rocks during the God's Valley incident. Luffy and Koby will team up to defeat Blackbeard, and the one who will land the final blow will be Koby. So for the second point, how likely is this to happen? Well, it is indeed a theory, but I truly believe this is gonna happen. So I'm gonna give it an 80% chance of indeed happening. Next up, power scaling. We pretty much covered Blackbeard, so we'll briefly go over Koby now. As explained, Koby is the parallel of Garp, and he's his student for a reason. opposite. Garp specifically chose him to replace Koby. Koby will in time become as strong as Garp and will be considered a legend among the Marines. He's not yet mastered Honesty Impact, but when he does and can use it at will, oh, this attack can decimate literally entire islands. So there's that as well. And for the fourth point, again, we pretty much covered this, but as we said, Koby's gonna be the one to defeat Blackbeard. Moving on to the next fight is Luffy against Rox D. Xebec, or as recently being known as Davy D. Xebec. So first point, why will they fight? Before we answer that, however, a quick note that we'll just say that Rox will probably return in One Piece one way or another. If I've learned something over all these years of watching anime, it's that when a character's death is not shown and rather only mentioned, then that character is not really dead and will eventually come back. So why will they fight? Again, this will be a parallel of Luffy to Roger, where Roger fought with the help of Garp, of course, and defeated Rox. In this case, I do feel like Dragon will join in the fight to even out the playing field. Blackbeard will be with his dad, aka Rox, so it only makes sense that Luffy would be with his dad as well, aka Dragon. Let me tell you, when that fight happens, it's gonna break the internet for sure. Second point, how likely is it to happen? I actually find it quite plausible, so I'm gonna give it a minimum of a 75% chance of happening. In terms of power scaling now, well, not many things need to be said. Rox was considered at the top of the world, probably stronger than even Prime Roger. In recent manga chapters, Oda even wrote, despite Roger being the Pirate King, this era could be fairly said to belong to Rox. So yeah, there's that. Once Luffy's ready to become the Pirate King, Rox will be his opponent. And for the fourth point, naturally, this is Luffy's story, so I do believe Luffy's gonna be the winner. If Luffy doesn't win and One Piece ends after all these years with Luffy not becoming the Pirate King, then I think Oda might have to start hiding, because I know there's some fans who are definitely not gonna like that turn of events. And for the final fight of today's video, we have Luffy against Emu. So why will they fight? Well, Luffy and Emu stand in polar opposite camps. One aims to control and manipulate the world. The other aims and advocates for absolute freedom. One tries to hide the truth of the world. The other tries to unravel it. Luffy tries to reach Raftel. Emu tries to stop everyone from reaching it. Probability it's gonna happen? Come on, these two will inevitably clash. And when it happens, well, let's just say it's gonna be insane to watch. Power scaling now? Well, we've already analyzed Luffy a lot on this channel, so let's briefly see Emu now. In terms of pure combat power, everything points to Emu being an endgame tier threat. Even without an on-screen fight yet, Oda has placed Emu above the Gorosei, who themselves have just been revealed to possess terrifying, almost mythical Zoan-like forms and regenerative durability, meaning Emu is likely even stronger or has access to a more broken devil fruit. Many fans speculate Emu could possess a power tied to the ancient weapons, an original or upgraded immortality ability stemming from the Ope Ope no Mi's rumored surgery, or some reality-altering fruit connected to darkness or creation itself. Their throne room is covered in strange butterflies and shadowy silhouettes, hinting at a power over shadows, life, or even planetary scale manipulation. If Emu wields a weapon, it may be one of the true ancient weapons, or a yet unseen relic from the Void Century, capable of wiping islands or fleets in an instant, something far beyond a typical admiral or Yonko. Taken together, the narrative framing suggests Emu's combat power is at the very top of the series, on a level designed to challenge not just Luffy at his peak, but potentially the entire Straw Hat Alliance at once, blending overwhelming devil fruit mastery, ancient weapon access, and centuries of secret knowledge into a single god-tier force. And for the winner, naturally, Luffy will have to win this, either directly or indirectly, with the help of his crew or allies. Click on this video next, where I'm presenting all 12 forms someone can power up in the world of One Piece. Go on, check it out!